I've always known that.
Drop the gun and get on the ground.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Suds part of Suds and Squared Circle. I am Vinny. This is Christy. Christy, how are you today?
Feeling okay.
That's good.
Get in there.
How was your week?
Busy, very busy.
I know that feeling all too well. I do want to send a special shout out, happy birthday to my son who turned 18 today. God dang, I feel old. But he's been on podcasts with me in the past. He is actually doing his thing as part of the marching band at Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut. So he's going and blazing his own path. But anyways, so happy 18th birthday to him. Today is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. And before we get into General Hospital, yesterday was actually a very important day in the history of our country, the 22nd year anniversary of 9/11. And so what we're going to do right now is, before we get into anything, just have a moment of silence for all of those people who were affected by the tragic events of 9/11, the terroristic attacks that took down the World Trade Center. Plane flew into the Pentagon, and then the Flight 93 that was actually overtaken by the passengers to apparently was headed towards the White House. So we're going to take a moment of silence right now. I know it doesn't make for good TV or radio, but sometimes you just have to go against the grain. But anyways, so we're trying something new. If you tuned into the Squared Circle News yesterday, I did something new. I broke down each individual segment and released the segments first as shorts, and then went ahead and released the entire show on audio and video. So I hope that you like those that style of editing and that style of releasing. Hopefully it gets the numbers up. As always, like, subscribe, get notified anytime anything from Suds and the Squared Circle gets posted, on not only on our YouTube page, but also on any place that you find your podcasts. The good part is the videos are now up on Spotify as well. So not only the audio, but the video will be there as well. So video you can watch on Spotify and YouTube, and then audio you can find everywhere else. But anyways, again, I want to thank you all for joining. A lot happened last week. Last week seemed like a very action-packed week in Port Charles.
Yeah, certainly was.
So, all right, let's get things started with probably the main event story that was going on. Sonny Corinthos, who was being grilled by the NSA. Was it the NSA or the FBI? I think it was the NSA.
NSA, the National Security Association, I think
Administration, yeah.
Yeah.
National Security Agency, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because, Sonny has been questioned by police officers and agents all, many times over the past 30 years. And he was just as stone-faced as possible until Diane comes in and lays the hammer down.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, honestly, guys, you think Sonny's really going to say anything? Like, he and Jason were both very much like, not going to say anything without my lawyer present. Like, they've been through this a bunch of times. They know the drill. They know they can say something and it'll incriminate them, and
Exactly.
Diane showed up, shut them right up, and it was, it was good. It was good. So
It
I
really
mean,
was.
I applaud Sonny for keeping his cool and control in that situation. So he didn't even show a bit of fear at all. He was
No.
like, no, I got this.
For somebody who's not a gambler, he has a tremendous poker face. On the flip side, his fiancee Nina was off the wall, and she was in a panic. And you know what? She actually went up to Carly and said, "What are you going to do about it?"
I was like, girl, you better learn how to roll with the mob. Like, you like, no time to like freak out. Like Carly is like, I'm surprised Carly actually like gave her any bit of advice, but Carly was really very gracious towards her and was like, this is probably how it's gonna go down. Like, keep your cool.
Yeah. And the funny part is when Nina made a comment saying, the last time, when Sonny was away and Sonny went missing, you stepped right into his shoes. And she's like, "Oh, you mean the time where you made his own family think he was dead?" I just about cracked up at work while I was watching it.
Oh, I love that line. I was like, yeah, Carly. Singer. I loved it. I loved
She, it's just
that line so much.
Yeah, no, I did. I enjoyed that a lot, and I popped at that line. But to Carly's credit, she actually gave Nina some information and said, "Hey, Diane's on it. She's called me. She said, she's working on it, and to calm down, and his arraignment will be, the next day or what have you." So, I mean, she did kind of take pity on Nina, which is not in Carly's nature.
No, it's not. So I was kind of surprised that Carly, took pity on her at all, honestly. But
I agree.
I guess she feels for her somewhat, being like a first time dealing with serious, boyfriend lobster, possibly going to prison thing. So it's like a first time experience for Nina. Nina, you know what you signed up for being with Sonny. You better learn quick.
Exactly. And that's that's the thing, because you know what, Ava kind of had the same advice, and you do realize that Sonny's a mobster. That's what you signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody understands it, and I don't want to say is okay with it, but gets it. But except for the one woman who claims that she's okay with it and is about to marry Sonny, and she's the one that's freaking out the most. Like, I honestly feel like Nina is still in love with Mike, and she doesn't realize that Sonny is a completely different person.
Either that, or she's just in denial of
what
Sonny does for a living and the implications of that lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly feel like if Nina sat back and kind of took stock of everything, I don't foresee that engagement lasting lasting even to the wedding date.
No, we're still waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
With the whole SEC thing. And so I think the moment that gets out, which is probably when, Ned comes back from his Eddie Main days, the truth will probably come out around that time.
And I think that's closer than we think. Because, well, I mean, think about it. It's Carly made a few different choice comments to Nina saying loyalty is everything to Sonny. So, and Nina's face almost dropped because, once Sonny finds out that she's the one that called the SEC on Carly and Drew, it's going to be over. Because regardless of whether or not Carly and Sonny are together, she's the
They're
mother.
together.
What?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but like, regardless of whether Sonny and Carly are together, I think I knew you were going with this. Is they're like he will do anything.
Exactly.
He still wants to help her out to this day, whether she accepts his help or not.
Right.
Like he still would do anything for her. And Sonny and Carly, and I've said this before, are the kind of couple that are together even when they're not together.
Right.
If they're like ride or die for each other. Like they just do anything for each other.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I was gonna say, it's just regardless of if they're together, Sonny always protects the mother of his children. And you see that with Alexis too. The fact that Alexis is Christina's mother. And then, Ava with Avery's mother, so it's like no matter whether or not they're in a relationship, Sonny, carries that loyalty, that family mentality, at all times. And Nina went against that code.
Sure did.
All right.
I can't wait for the blowout. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. I think it's gonna be great that once the truth of the SEC, tattletale comes out and they find out, it's gonna be fantastic. I want to see how Nina's gonna backpedal from that.
Yeah.
And even the fact of her even taking responsibility for it, with the exception, or instead of blaming Carly and saying, oh, well, Carly never gets held accountable for anything. She did something wrong. I wanted to make sure she paid. I never intended for Drew to go to prison for it, or whatever the case is. They're going to, depending on the writing, but Nina's going to end up trying to victim-splain herself out of it.
Oh, yeah. She'll try to justify it anyway she can. For sure.
Yeah. No, exactly. All right. Anything else on the Sonny, Nina, Carly situation before we move on to the next topic?
Not on my end, no.
All right. Well, let's get going. Let's move on to another topic. All right. Moving on to, we mentioned him in the last segment, but Eddie Main. I actually enjoyed, because Eddie and Olivia were only on one day of the week last week. They were only on, I think it was Thursday, but it was such a fantastic point in the show of seeing Eddie singing. I liked that part.
I liked it too, but I was a little like, dude, you're just gonna like play it by ear with all this studio time that's very expensive to record in a studio. And the producer guy was like, okay, so you have anything prepared? Do you have this? Do you have that? Yeah. He's like, no, it's all in my head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really?
Well, I mean,
how Eddie Main rolls? I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch back in like the prime Eddie Main days
either.
But I'm just like, this is a little sus. Well, like, you don't have anything.
There are some artists that are like that literally go in. I mean, you hear more about them being big time, not just a local singer who sings on the corners. I mean, I don't know how big Eddie Main got in Port Charles world, to the fact of what could was he a one-hit wonder? Did he sell a platinum album at some point? I don't know. I might have to re-listen to the Eddie Main Port Charles 411 that Pier 54 put out, just to kind of refresh myself on that, because I honestly don't know. I mean, maybe he put out one record, one album, and then ended up doing local gigs. But sometimes, again, sometimes some artists just have that feeling. But it was so cute with Leo helping him with the lyrics. I thought that was great.
Oh, that was cute. I want more of those little like moments because I said this last time we talked about Ned, Leo, and Olivia, but I think Leo is key to getting Ned his memory back. So I enjoy their moments together. And like even Olivia was like, "How do you know that, Leo? How do you know that?" It was so cute.
Yeah. But and what I really liked was the two people, the production engineers that were in the booth, that were actually mixing the music and the sounds and everything, they were actually producing the song. They were very, very patient, not only with Eddie, the fact that he wanted to play it by ear and just kind of go off the top of his head, but they were very patient with Leo as well. I doubt many children are in, positions like that, and they're asking a lot of questions, and I don't think there are many producers that would put up with that.
Yeah.
I've never been in a professional recording studio, so I can't,
Right, right. I mean, I don't know how many kids are allowed in professional recording studios, but that was nice. I mean, it's Sonny. He paid for it, so it's like I think the any so-called rules as long we're
oh,
off
right,
that.
exactly,
Plus, it's like he had parental supervision, so it's not like some kid running around like
right,
crazy. Very well behaved kid Leo is. So
exactly. I I don't know. I almost thought that by the end of the song that was kind of that arc and the end of the arc of Ned realizing that he was Ned instead of Olivia. I almost thought that was gonna kind of come out towards the end, but I guess I was wrong. I mean, I haven't seen them on this week's episodes yet, so I can't say for sure. But it almost felt like that could have been kind of the catalyst for Ned and Olivia to kind of get back together and Ned come to his senses.
yeah, yeah. I think she should try True Love's Kiss on him though, just to see if it works, just to see if
Yeah.
he gets like a flash or something like, oh wait, I remember this guy I'm supposed to be. I just think it'd be funny. Like a little Disney plug.
Right. Um, I know that there was a lot of, and this storyline in general with Eddie Main is kind of, I don't want to say controversial, but it does cause waves online because they almost like Eddie Main was Ned Quartermain's or Ned, yeah, Ned Ashton's, but Ned Quartermain's stage name. So it wasn't an actual persona or personality trapped inside of Ned. So a lot of people are kind of wondering, and my biggest thing, because I don't know Eddie Main, like you, same thing like you. I wasn't watching during the height of Eddie Main, but the whole point that he's that he's portraying a different person. It doesn't make sense because it was never like it was just a stage name. It was still Ned, but Ned was performing as Eddie Main. So where where is the um oh, what's the word I'm thinking of? But where's the reasoning? The reasoning behind Eddie like not remembering Lois, not remembering Tracy, because if it was, Eddie as Ned or Ned as Eddie, he still wouldn't remember. He still would have remembered, everything. I'm not, and I guess I'm with the consensus of I'm not understanding where it's coming from.
Right. Yeah, I don't really get where that's coming from either. I'm just kind of confused why they taken this route because,
Yeah,
like you said, it was just a stage name, but they made it like this whole separate person for this amnesia storyline. So, at first to me it was like, oh, it's a little silly. So I was like, all right, where are they gonna go with this? And it kind of seems like they really are trying to make it like Eddie was this whole separate person.
yep,
So it's it's really kind of strange, but I mean, I'm willing to see where it goes if it
Right.
makes sense in the long term. But it just feels like they kind of just came up with this and just decided, well, let's see how this works out. We
Right.
don't think this is funny. Maybe the audience. I don't know what they were really thinking.
I mean, I've never heard of the GH writers writing for one as to, in terms of like what Frank Valentini enjoys, and that's what where the writing is going. I've heard it in the WWE, where it's said that everybody writes for the audience of one, being Vince McMahon. But I've never heard it for Frank Valentini, where there's been no writer saying, "Oh, we're just writing for the audience of one, and whatever people say about it, they don't care." So it's something to bring up, and kind of find out why. Like, I guess I would have liked to see more tests run in the hospital, by a neurosurgeon to find out, well, what's going on in the gray matter in his brain, and for him to actually think he's a rocker under his stage name. I don't, that's one of the biggest, most perplexing questions that I have regarding this entire storyline.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think they should have done a little bit more testing in the hospital to figure out, like, okay, well, why does he think he's Eddie?
Right.
Like, it's not just like amnesia. Like, I don't know who. Like, it would honestly almost make more sense if he's like doesn't know who he is at all.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't know his name. He doesn't know his anything, really. He just knows that he's a musician or something, or feels called to his musical roots or something.
Yeah.
It's a little strange, but like, if there was evidence to back it up in the hospital,
right?
We ran these tests, and he has some sort of, whatever they want to call it, some kind of memory issue that would make him think he's Eddie Main.
Right, exactly.
Like, maybe he doesn't remember anything after 1990 something, whatever, 93, 94, whatever the height of the Eddie Main story was. Like,
right. But that would still, but then at that point, you would still remember Brenda and Lois, because that was the whole point of L&B Records. They were the ones that put that together. Of course, Sonny paid for it. But yeah, exactly. There's a lot of, in this storyline alone, there's a lot of, pushing aside your, your realism,
or suspending
suspending disbelief. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of it in actually a couple of the storylines. There's just a lot of suspension of disbelief going on in these storylines right now. And we'll get to more in a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing, this storyline with Eddie kind of come to an end shortly. Now that, I mean, with a brief spoiler, as of yesterday's episode, Sonny has the charges dropped. But now that that's over, I wouldn't mind seeing the end of the Eddie Main story, the end of the Eddie Main storyline.
Yeah, they need to wrap it up, because it's just it's starting to get a little tired.
It is. It's almost like, where else can you go? Unless they bring back Rena Sofer as Lois, and then that kind of puts the monkey wrench into whatever's building between Eddie and Olivia. That's one way they can go, but they have to actually pull the trigger to do it. Rena Sofer is not working right now. She's available, and if General Hospital could get her and get that, kind of reimagine that storyline, and kind of put her in there as to be like, hey, you're from his past, and maybe you can draw it up, draw Ned out of Eddie. But again, I don't know if that's
This would be this would be the opportunity to do that,
right.
But I feel like if that was going to happen and they were going to bring Rena back, I feel like it would have happened sooner rather than later at this point.
I can agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah. So I kind of doubt that's going to happen.
Right.
But if it did, it would have to be relatively soon.
Yes, relatively soon, absolutely. All right, let's. Any other notes on Eddie Main? Or are you just as tired about you're just tired of this storyline?
I'm tired of it. I mean, they don't really have, I don't think, much else to play. I mean, everyone's been trying to get rid of him. Although I don't really feel like there's been enough scenes with BLQ and
Right.
Eddie Main / Ned.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of try to jog his memory for his daughter. I mean, I think they've only had a couple of scenes, I feel like maybe it's been between Eddie, a little bit of Tracy, and then Olivia and Leo. So I'm starting to think that like Leo is going to be like the catalyst for him getting his memory back. I feel like he's going to be a key part of it. I'm hoping. Yep. So that's my theory, but they got to wrap that up.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I honestly feel like Leo's going to be the catalyst to bring that family back together. The Quartermains. It's very strange because I don't think they've ever actually been united on any front at all, with the exception of knowing that that's Alan's. That Alan gave that house to Monica, and not Tracy. All right, so we'll move on to the next topic, and we'll be right back with the next topic that we'll talk about. All right, moving on. What about you? What storyline piqued your interest this week?
Gosh, technically, it might be over the last couple of days. I mean, we've been seeing Jake on screen more often, which I'm really, really excited about. So
yeah.
just see them on screen together, like
where's Aiden?
Yeah, but where is Aiden? They really only always choose one of Elizabeth's kids on screen at a time. Very rarely do we see all three boys.
Yeah.
On like a special occasion, then we see all three boys. But I'm personally really excited to see like Jake on screen. I'm like, yeah, the liaison baby, because I have a special place in my heart for the liaison baby, of course. So I'm very excited to see him out there getting older and becoming a teenager, and y'all know what that means. Get some love interest for Jake.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. So we see that coming up this week. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, they do reveal that love interest in this week. We're not going to get into that right now, but I echo the sentiment of where's Aiden. I mean, Finn and Elizabeth come into, or should I say, at first we saw Jake with Wyatt at General Hospital, interacting with Austin. And that was the thing of Wyatt's once a year comeback or what have you. And then, we didn't see Jake until yesterday, I think. Because outside of that, they really haven't shown. They never show Elizabeth's kids. I mean, you don't ever see her being a mom anymore.
She talks about it a lot more than they actually show her being a mom, which is like one of my biggest gripes with GH. Like, can we see her being a mom? Can we see her being a head nurse in her head nurse duties instead of hanging out with Finn all the time? I don't know why they have to always pigeonhole her and her love interest and her just having scenes with her love interest. Like, she has friends outside of this pairing that you've chosen to,
Right.
have for Liz, whether we like it or not. I'm not really a fan of Finn and Liz as a couple. I mean, I think they'd be great as friends. I just don't really see any romantic chemistry there. Personally, that's just me. I've tried to see it. I thought it was there first, and then it just kind of seemed like it fizzled out. It seemed like the second they tried to do anything, I was just like, it's not as great as I thought it was going to be. And it's no like offense to the actors, because Becky's amazing, Michael is great in his own right, but I just don't think it's not clicking for me.
Yeah, it's really not. And I honestly feel like Michael Easton's best character was John McBain. You're not going to tell me anything different.
Yeah.
I feel like ever since he had a change to Silas and now Hamilton Finn, it's almost like his charisma left. Like it really did. It's like he has no charisma as a doctor. He's better suited to be a cop, which is weird to think about, because Michael Easton is a tremendous actor. I just don't feel the character anymore. I think it was. I liked how they did how they did the multiple layers. They had Finn go visit Curtis as a fellow addict, or a fellow recovering addict. His scenes with Alexis were fantastic when they were going to AA meetings together, and Finn was like, Alexis, I gotta watch because I have the Amazon device. Well, Finn was her sponsor. But I just feel like over the years that Finn has been Finn, a lot of his charisma has like gone away. The only thing he really has is the pursed lips. Like when he's talking seriously, and he's got that look where his lips are always puckered, and it's hard to describe without being able to do it myself. But like he just has that look, that quizzical look almost, and I don't know. I'm not feeling his character right now.
Yeah, no. I mean, the last time I think there was any meaningful scene with Finn was when he found out his dad had ALS.
Yes.
I think that's the last time we were really like, oh, wow, we're really paying attention here.
Right, yeah.
Like emotional stuff's happening. But they're just not, they're not really, other than that, I don't really feel like they're giving him any material that's like making me want to root for him or him and Liz. Like
you're absolutely right. For both of them, there's just not, like, Elizabeth just got the head nurse's position at the beginning of the summer, and I agree with you. Let's see some challenges about her stepping up into Epiphany's shoes. Epiphany did so much around that hospital, that she was a legend, and for Elizabeth to be taking over, and then us not seeing the challenges of her stepping into that role, not seeing, okay, well, this nurse called out tonight, I have to cover, but I've already worked a full 8 hours or 12 hours or what have you. Some of those kinds of struggles about the decisions that a head nurse has to make, or just about the challenge about switching. Like,
right, like you would think maybe there would be some coworkers who would maybe go against her decision-making process, or things that she's put in place that they don't like, and like there could be some kind of argument or conflict that she has to resolve at work. Like I would rather see that than like her and Finn having some stupid dates in like the break room. Like that was so pointless and such a waste of like screen time.
Yeah, honestly. Exactly. And not to mention, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Elizabeth, having somebody take advantage of Elizabeth, because Elizabeth is not Epiphany. Epiphany was just a no nonsense, get things done. She invoked respect and fear in the people, in the other nurses on the floor or in the hospital. We haven't seen Elizabeth there. Like, the first transitional months of any position is going to be the roughest. That's what I want to see. Where's Felix been? Why isn't Felix kind of like, hey, jumping in there to help out? I think we saw Amy once in the whole summer. So I think we see what's her name, Deanna all the time, or Deanna all the time. But again, where is the challenge for Elizabeth personally? There's nothing.
Yep, it's not. The GH is really kind of like dropped ball. Like, we're gonna give her this head nurse position, but then we're not gonna really show you her at work a lot.
Right,
like,
exactly.
What's the point then? Even giving her the head nurse position if we're not going to see her actively in that role.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, with all the challenges and responsibilities that come with that.
And Finn now, like, it's a good thing to have support. I'm not denying that at all. Finn learning that his father had ALS. Yes, he's going to need somebody to lean on. And I get that. If Elizabeth wants to be that person for Finn when she can in her free time, yes, I agree with that. But at the same time, it's like she has a new career. Well, not new career, but a new position with a lot more responsibilities. And like, she may not have the time to be with Finn all the time outside of working hours.
Yeah, but she has time to be involved in the apparently, well, at least I think it's more this week, but the softball team they still put on every summer.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
I like that they add that fun into the show. The teams like Kelly's Diner, and what kind of a softball team is Kelly's Diner going to be able to field? There's only Joss and Carly that work there, maybe one or two other people.
Yeah, that we don't even see really
exactly
on screen, or if they're in like the background.
All right. Anything else you got on Elizabeth that you want to talk about? Get something off your chest.
I'm Team Elizabeth. So, I mean, I like to say whatever makes her happy. And I'm like, if Finn really makes you happy, Elizabeth, but God, you could do so much better.
All right. Let's move on to the next topic, and we'll see you in just a second. All right. So moving on to the next topic. I gotta say, Portia pissed me off this week.
Yeah, she pissed me off. She is not my favorite.
Like, she's almost become, now, I'm not somebody that, and again, I'm talking about the characters, but at this point, I think she's up there at probably, I wouldn't say more, and I wouldn't even say equal, but just about almost as unlikable as Gladys at this point in time.
She's not quite as unlikable as Gladys,
right. That's what I mean.
But she's climbing the ranks
very quickly,
getting up there to a point where it's like, okay, she's not happy about her daughter's love life.
Yeah.
Get that, fine. She has concerns, which I'm sure are mainly safety concerns.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing with Anna, this whole face-off with Anna, I was like, you're dissing Anna? You're telling Anna that she can't be there? Excuse me? Like, and Anna was like really like heartbroken about that. Like, you could see it in her eyes. She really felt like she had really done something wrong, which honestly she had not.
Right.
But Portia was just like really, really trying to like. Portia's trying to be a real control freak and just really manage Curtis's like life and what he can and can't do. And even Curtis was like, "This is the first time I've been allowed to be alone in my own house." Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, bro. like Portia's running the show on you? Like, this is crazy.
No, you're exactly
you should
right.
be allowed to be in your own house if it's been made handicap accessible in all the right areas.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, and you're exactly right. Um, I did not like when Portia went off on Anna. She had, yes, granted, everybody has a right to their feelings, even characters on TV, and everybody feels things differently. As of right now, in my opinion, Portia's have had so much go against her this year. Being that at the wedding, everything came out about Trina's paternity, and then building things again with Curtis, and Curtis wanting nothing to do with her, and then he got shot, and then now he's a paraplegic. So and then him trying to push her away, out of the hospital as well, and then now it's almost like she battered Curtis down, that he's like, well, all right, I'll come home. But now she's just getting in the middle of everything, and it just doesn't work for me. Like, I wouldn't want my wife or my significant other to butt into something like that.
Yeah. She's kind of, this is my theory, is the only thing that makes sense. That she's got all these like hurt feelings that she's just taking it out on everybody else.
Right.
She's not really I don't think, I think she needs to be like in therapy. Yep. Maybe her and Curtis need to be in couples therapy, something, because she's got a lot of emotions I think she's dealing with, and she's just like taking them out.
Exactly.
On the wrong people. So, like, girl, sign up for some therapy, please. Get yourself together.
And to be completely honest with you, they really should have some kind of a post-trauma therapy. Curtis obviously is doing what he has to do with physical therapy, and he's gone through that stage of grief and that stage of, why me? I'm not useful to anybody, blah 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 blah. He's gone through that. Portia's almost like stalled at the anger phase, and that like blaming everybody else and trying to put blame on somebody. Because when she came back into the house, Kurt's like, I can't blame Anna for this. He's been a PI before, so he's been around, shootouts and been around, stuff where things happen. So the way that Portia stomped out of the room and said, oh, maybe you can't, but I can. And it's like
yes. And she said, I can. Like, so like,
and turn around and stop
like confidently, and I was like, oh, you're just being really mean right now. Thank you.
Exactly. And that was almost like, why? Like, okay, so you could place blame, but was it Anna that pulled the trigger? That's my whole thing. It's like, yes, as it's coming out now and the details emerge, yes, they were aiming at Anna. They weren't aiming at Sonny. They weren't aiming anywhere else. So okay. So does Anna necessarily have to take responsibility for that? Because she didn't know she was going to be a target of a shooting? With that said, if you go forward from the shooting to the fact where she was running outside and jogging outside in the middle of the night, and then somebody comes in to torch your house, okay, now you're being targeted. Now you're being targeted. The stupidity would have been if, let's say, Anna and Curtis went out jogging together at 2:00 in the morning, and somebody tried to run down Anna and hit Curtis instead. Then there's blame, because she knew that she was a target for somebody.
Right. But didn't she even come over to the house in the first place to basically like apologize to Curtis and be like, I'm sorry. It's not my intention for you to be involved in this, right, and get shot. So like, she came over with purely good intentions.
Yes.
Out of a purely kind heart.
Right.
And freaking Portia like stomped all over that.
And
Been like, no, I blame you.
yeah,
You can leave.
yeah, and I don't want you in my house.
Yeah. I'm like, that's so rude. I was just like, gosh.
No, I agree, and that's what it boils down to, is that Portia is just very unlikable at this point in time. I don't know what she's going to be able to do to redeem herself.
Well, like I said, I think she's just taking out her feelings on everybody else, and she's
Yep.
just trying to control everything
Yep.
because she thinks that'll make her feel better. She'll think maybe the situation will get better.
Yeah.
You know, she controls everything or every aspect of Curtis's life, and I think it's just going to make things much harder on herself by doing
Agreed.
that.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It is. It's gonna. I wonder. I know that Aunt Stella was the catalyst to make Curtis realize that he has to go home. So I wonder. I wonder how Stella feels about Anna, because the way that Stella is portrayed is the almost a complete opposite of Portia. Yeah, she's sad that it happened, but she's not about to place blame, on somebody who, quote unquote, was the target, who had nothing to do with it. I want to see more of Stella. I just happen to find her very enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the last time we saw her, she was helping out. She was in the hospital, right? She's working in the
Yeah,
hospital?
yeah, she was
Like a
patient advocate,
patient advocate. Yeah, I couldn't remember her exact title.
because
But
that's was the day that Felicia asked to apply to be a patient advocate.
so
Yeah.
I
All right.
mean,
So let's move on to another topic, and we'll be right back. All right, back at it now. We're going to move on to, I think, what I feel is the most exciting storyline going on in General Hospital right now, and that is Cody finally breaking Sasha out of Ferncliff and coming to that huge realization that the doctor is working with Gladys to keep her drugged. I loved it. I can't help it. I like Josh Kelly as an actor. I think this is finally giving him something to sink his teeth into. Sophia Madsen has been fantastic this entire time. And I know the storyline is, I hate this word, but is triggering to some people. And I know there are some people that want it to end, that hate the storyline. In my opinion, it's all about entertainment and kind of this couple going through a big time calamity. So I personally don't have a problem with it, but again, I've never had that problem. But I did love when Cody was acting, like he was just completely insane. In that initial interview with the doctor in Ferncliff.
mm-hmm. It was quite entertaining to like really see him like lay into the fact that he was like a danger to himself and he was really crazy or schizophrenic or whatever you would. I don't know if you want to put a new label on it, but it was good. He really committed to that, to get himself in there. And I'm dare I say it, I am proud of Cody this week. I did not think I'd ever say that. I'm not a fan really of Cody at all, but he earned some big points with me this week. So
yeah,
I really like him. I like what he's doing for Sasha, and he really genuinely seems to care about her, not just because it's going to get him money or anything else. He genuinely seems to care. Like he doesn't seem like a ploy to get money. It seems like he genuinely actually cares about her. So.
Well, and I mean, we could have seen that all the way back when Sasha was on Home and Hearth, and he found out that the people were manipulating her and playing the baby crying in her headset and all of that. So, and he was
willing to like strip naked for her on television. I'm like, I actually want to see that. Do it. Do it. Let's go there. Let's see how far he goes strict. Let's go on national television.
Maybe it'll be instead of the Magic Milo and his dancing magic wands, maybe it'll be maybe Cody will be on there next time.
Oh, he'll be in there. He'll be in there.
But yeah, just the way that Cody finally pieced it together. First of all, I don't know how the hell he got into. First of all, I don't know how he got out of his room, and then got into Sasha's room.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, right.
A little bit
have some like alien powers or something we don't know about? Like, how did he open that door? Did he? I mean, I'm guessing there was some kind of like master key or something he found somewhere. I don't know, but he was able to find something to like jimmy the lock. And I'm guessing Ferncliff does not have really good security protocols or anything, because he was able to get Sasha out of there like really well. Like he knew exactly what to do to get her out. And
exactly. And I really liked when Montague came in, and Cody, the gears are turning. Cody figured it out, and Sasha's kind of just sitting there, and because she's still half out of it because of whatever Montague gave her earlier, and she's like, "Are you real? Are you real, or am I imagining you?" Because I remember, because Sasha did say, I know that I know you wouldn't hurt me, or something to that effect. When she realized it was Cody, because then she's like, "Oh no, I stabbed Cyrus," because Cyrus was there. Still not realizing that part of it, and I hope that it does come out that it was the whatever medications that Montague was giving her, which made her hallucinate. I hope so, and I can't wait. I cannot wait until Gladys gets hers. Gladys going to Nina, wanting the money, and Nina saying, "Hey, I gave you that 50 grand. I want something done. I want her out tomorrow. I want her out now."
Mm-hmm. Right.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah. So
I
it's gonna be interesting when they find out that Cody got her out, because obviously that doctor had some other kind of goals he was trying to reach before he let Sasha out of there. And I was just like, you got the money, dude. What else do you want? Like, this is crazy. Like, this is insane. Like, we don't really know his motivation.
Right. We don't.
For drugging Sasha, do we? So
we don't know his motivation for helping Gladys in the first place. In terms of reaching out and saying, other than the gambling debt, but because he was, I thought the original thing was he was going to take care of the gambling debt if she did something for him. So there's still some motive somewhere that's just not being talked about. I want to see. I want to see.
Why is this doctor so evil?
Right.
Why? Like, it just seems like there's no rhyme or reason to why he's just so set on drugging Sasha to the point where she can't even like be coherent or anything. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss with that. I was on the app formerly known as Twitter, on X, and I got into a debate / conversation with somebody who said that Bonnie Burrows, who plays Gladys, said in an interview that her character thinks that she's doing what's best for Sasha by what she's doing. And I responded, I said, you know what? I said, you're right. Because somebody said, oh no, she's dead wrong. It's because, Gladys is so horrible, this, that, the other thing. And I said, listen, I said, you got to think about it in the fourth dimension. Now I feel like Doc Brown, but you have to think about it in the fourth dimension, because you're not looking at Bonnie Burrows playing as Gladys and Bonnie's ideas thinking that, this is going to help Sasha. You have to think about Gladys and her personality. The one thing that a sociopath will always do is justify their actions. Someone who's legitimately evil will always justify their actions. So they'll think in their mind, which is warped and twisted, as we know, they're going to think that what they're doing is good because in their mind they're doing good. What we as the viewer has to discern is we know it's bad, but the heel, the bad guy, is going to consistently keep going with that line of thinking, that line of that line of thinking about what they're doing, that it's good. And kudos to Bonnie Burrows for kind of pointing that out, because not a lot of people understand, as do most people on X from what I've seen. They don't understand that division. Gladys as a character is, in my opinion, from all I know, is a sociopath. She's completely obsessed with money, which is why she got in the poker game at the beginning and why she racked up so much poker debt. And now she sees Cody as a threat. So in order to protect Sasha, she's going to team up with this doctor and have him keep an eye on her. But now it's gone far too much past what Gladys even would have done. So there's a lot to go there, and I think that we're finally going to get that break. And I just hope and pray that Montague and Gladys get their own. I don't think they're going to be killed. I mean, a lot of people have been looking at Gladys about being killed and buried in the Pine Barrens.
I mean, unless Miss Wu does that, I would think Miss Wu would definitely have reason to.
Oh yeah,
kill her.
Absolutely, I agree. It could potentially be Miss Wu. I didn't even think about that. Because think about it, Cody works for Miss Wu, so now that Cody has the proof, that Sasha's being drugged because of Gladys, and Gladys can't get that money together. You know what I mean? So it's going to be good. The storyline is going to be good in the upcoming weeks. I'm enjoying it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Well, we'll be excited for when Sasha is like sobered up, no drugs in her system, and realizes that Cody was her knight in shining armor, if you want to put it that way.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. And I already have it. Hashtag kosher.
Kosher.
All right. So I think we've just got like one more thing to talk about in this episode. And we'll be right back with that. All right. Welcome back, guys. And we're going to get into our final storyline, final topic of the day, and that is deception. What the heck is going on with deception? We saw that Maxie and Lucy kind of had two different game plans for it, and the thought process behind it is the reason why. Maxie's like, why don't we just settle? And Lucy's like, no, we're gonna fight. Why would we settle? And Maxie's coming from the point of she's just moving into a new house. She just bought all this new furniture for her kids, for the house, and now the assets are frozen. She's not getting paid. All the money for deception is frozen, so the stock is frozen. So which is why Gladys couldn't get the money from Sasha's stock. But Lucy, apparently, Lucy has money, so she doesn't really care, because she also has the real estate on the side. So she has another job that could potentially earn income. Maxie doesn't. Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, I was very surprised. Like, they still haven't kind of said why Tracy is going after deception.
Yeah, her motivation for going after deception, or her plan of why she's doing it, we don't really know the why yet. And we surmised, like last episode, on our last podcast, I was like, well, it can't be because of money.
Right.
She doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
So why is she doing it? So we don't know. But it makes things hard for Maxie and for Lucy. And I feel bad for Lucy because she built that business herself, and she's very proud of that, and as she should be. And of course, she's not going to want to just let it go and just give up 75%, because that's a huge chunk.
It
I
is.
don't see if Tracy was asking for a fair share of the business, like 25% or less, something like that.
Yep.
But she's like, this is like worse than the sharks on Shark Tank. Like,
Yes.
she wants like most of the money for herself. She basically wants to almost take complete control of, the company, which makes me think, like, if she gets 75%, she's going to she's going to want to control a lot of things from the business perspective.
Right.
And then I also get Maxie's point. Well, 25% of a company is better than 0% of nothing. Right?
Exactly. Yep. I get that too.
So I also get Maxie's side too. So I see it from both sides, and I feel bad for Maxie because she's got to think about taking care of her kids. I mean, she's not getting child support, right? I don't think she's got any other.
Considering, with the exception of Spinelli, all of her kids' fathers are dead.
Right.
I mean, Nathan and Peter are both, well, Peter's presumed dead. But
no, he better be dead. I don't want to see that guy again. I know we differ there, but I want to see him
again. The other thing is there was a name drop of Erica Kane and Enchantment.
There was. When that happened, I was like, Vinnie and I just talked about this. Are they bringing Erica Kane on screen?
Could there potentially be? Now we know that obviously Jackson Montgomery came back, and I'm sure he'll be back at some point in time. We know that Blair Kramer from One Life to Live is coming on this upcoming week, and apparently the rumor and innuendo is that she is going to be Marty's third ex-wife, the one that's paying him the $50,000 a week or a month or whatever it is. Could it potentially be that she's involved with Enchantment Cosmetics, even though when she was on One Life to Live she was in publishing, so which could be a rewrite of her character or a career change at some point off screen. So we still don't know. We still don't know what she's coming on for. Could it be involved with the whole Pikeman deal and the other rumor of Lorenzo Alcazar being Pikeman come to fruition? So there's a lot. There are a lot of questions. I'm happy to sit back and watch as the answers come, but I still cannot wait to see it. And it still brings up a lot more questions. And with Deception now, and now with Sasha, hopefully back in the real world, as she starts to get back into her life. Although I have a feeling that Sasha's going to be away from Deception for a while still.
Yeah, I don't think she's coming back for a little while. It's going to be at least a few months, and by then we might have this whole Deception thing with Tracy resolved. So
I just want to see who Tracy's working with. I want to see the motivation behind it. I want to, I do, because Tracy came back. And I feel like the entire reason why Tracy came back now is to get under Lucy's skin and get deception. So we still don't know, and like I said, we still don't know who she's working with, why. Why did she have Brooklyn, spy on deception and get all that information?
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see when that answer comes out.
Right.
It's not an exciting storyline, but it is bringing in the characters of the past, so to speak. It is
or possible All My Children
right.
appearances.
All My Children, One Life to Live, characters from other soaps gone by. Maybe at some point we'll see Nora Buchanan pop up because she's been on a couple times, hasn't been on in a while. I was, to be honest with you, I was actually hoping that the and we'll talk about it next week, but the lawyer for the NSA, I was kind of hoping that was going to be Nora Buchanan. But Hillary B. Smith has been on General Hospital a couple times and has, guest starred and brought Nora into Port Charles, but clearly that wasn't in the cards. But I do want to see more characters coming, even for short stints. Like I do like how they're incorporating other characters into the storylines. I like that the fact that they brought Jackson Montgomery back after 12 years or whatever it was. And now they're bringing Blair back on. Although Cassie DePaiva is making the rounds because she did a brief stint on Days a couple weeks ago as her character Eve. So she's been making the rounds.
Yep. As these talented soap actors do, who have gone to a bunch of soaps. And I always like to shout out Wally Kirk because it's amazing that he can do 2 soaps at the same time, Days and GH. So
I give him credit, I really do. But just kind of switching gears, for a brief moment to talk about Days. I know you haven't been watching Days, but
I have been watching Teresa scenes on Days.
I am so happy with
just those scenes. Thank you to the Eric Martsoff fan page on Instagram. Thank you. Then I don't have to go watch the whole episode just for Teresa scenes because that's what I'm really interested in. Besides the Camila Venusa scene.
This is the first time that I've actually seen Jen Lilly as Teresa, so I'm enamored with her. I absolutely when she filled in for Maxie years ago at on GH, and I didn't know her too much, and then I wasn't watching Days when she had her original run as Teresa. But now that I am enamored with her. I am liking the character.
She is so fun. She is
really
so fun to watch as Teresa. She had scenes with Robert Scott Wilson for a minute. I was like, ooh, I see sparks. I see some sparks, man. I'm so bummed what Days did because they decided they were going to recast Teresa after they brought Jen Lilly back. I'm like, that's a really shitty thing to do, Days. I'm sorry, but that is not cool.
Apparently,
the girl who originated the role, I mean, not originated, but she started.
Yeah,
Teresa, she made Jen Lilly is the reason I started watching Days back in 2014, and then I kind of wasn't really watching after she left, and
yeah,
then I kind of came back in 2016, and I've been watching here and there, but I mean, Jen is so fun as Teresa, and I really wish they had kept her on as even just reoccurring would have been fine.
Well, apparently the story goes, and this is just from the rumor and innuendo that I've heard, is that they offered Jen a story arc, maybe a 3-month story arc, but originally she said, I can't commit to that for whatever reason it was. I don't think they actually said what the reason was, but eventually after going doing the initial stuff with Victor's memorial and after a couple of weeks she was told, she said that she made it work. She was able to do the story arc and take the time to do it. But then after that, she found out as she got to the set that she was no longer needed, which I think is garbage, in my opinion.
The Days has had a history of letting people go in a really crappy way. I think it happened with whoever plays not who plays Sonny, but who played Will. I can't remember his name, but he has a podcast with his wife, and he explained the process of like how they decided they were going to have Will and Sonny exit the show, and it's just not a very nice thing. They don't like give you a call even after 9 years on the show and be like, so hey, this is the direction we've decided. Just like at least a nice customary phone call to say like, this is the direction we decided to go. We're no longer going to need you, for XYZ, whatever. But it's just, they don't have a really good history of it. And then with the whole, not to mention the whole Albert Allaire thing with the, sexual harassment and whatnot. I'm like, that's just, there's a lot of stuff going on at Days that I think they need to.
Well, the entire reason why I brought up Days in the first place, first of all, I can't say enough about Teresa, and the other part about that is that they're replacing Teresa with somebody who's already on the show and has a character on the show.
Oh, I didn't even know.
With a wig. Just, I mean, obviously the scenes haven't started playing yet, but my whole thing is, how stupid do you think the fans are? Like, when WWE tried this back in the late 90s, 1996, December of 96, after Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went to WCW and Jim Ross came out and said Diesel and Razor Ramon were coming back to the WWF, knowing full well that Hall and Nash were already signed to contracts, and they tried to bring in two guys who were Diesel and Razor in name only. Like, do you think the fans are stupid? Like, I know that there's always recasts, just like, Greg Vaughn had to take some time off, so they had somebody come into play. Eric. Recasts happen. But to take somebody who's already on the set, on the show, and just put them in a wig to recast somebody else, that, I don't know, that almost insults my intelligence as a fan. Like, we know that's not Teresa. You know what I mean? We know that's not the character.
Yeah, it's just like people are going to be mad. I think there's going to be a little bit of backlash personally, but I mean, Days wants to take the risk, so it's fine. I mean, that's their choice in the end. I guess it's about business for them, or whatever. But I mean, I don't know how long the gap was. I guess maybe a week between the time they initially offered it to Jen, and then she's like, well, I don't think I can commit to that. And then I guess they decided, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
She's probably not going to commit to it because she wasn't willing to stay with us before in the way that we wanted. So we're just going to get someone else. So it's just unfortunate. Like, I don't know. I don't care for the way that Days has done business. Days has kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I haven't really watched a whole episode of Days that much lately, but I've watched, Jen's scenes because, like Vinny said, you're enamored by her, and rightfully so. She is amazing.
She is a firecracker.
Like, I really, really thoroughly enjoy it.
I'm gonna have to go back in time and watch her original run, and watch the character development, because now I'm interested.
She's quite the troublemaker as a character, and I love it. And that's why I loved her scenes with Rob, because Alex is like, well, I'm a troublemaker too, and Brady was like, oh wow, your definition of trouble and Teresa's definition of trouble are like two separate things. And I'm like, but that's what would make it fun.
Exactly. But not to kind of get back to the original reason why I brought it up in the first place was Steve Burton and Tamara Braun, in their scenes together, in their storyline together, reminiscent of Jason and Carly, back, when Tamara Braun was playing Carly. They were both in a psychiatric hospital. And EJ hires somebody to go kill Ava, who's Tamara Braun's character. And Harris helps her escape and actually shoots the basic Jason mode, shoots the hip woman who came after her, and now they're on the run together because they're trying to find EJ's mother alive. But it's kind of calling back to the time when Jason and Carly were together on GH. Tamara Braun's Carly, not Laura Wright's Carly. Who we actually have to wish a very happy birthday to, not realizing her birthday was September 11th.
Yeah.
As well as Paul Heyman. And I put out an excerpt on X yesterday saying that I didn't realize that Paul Heyman and Laura Wright had the same birthday, who are two of the goats in their entertainment genres. Paul Heyman being one of the absolute greatest managers in wrestling history, and Laura Wright, who, I'm sorry, but after seeing Laura Wright as Carly, I can't imagine any other character as Carly.
Oh, well, she's quite the legend. I mean, because even before she was Carly, she was on, I think, Loving. Yep. Like, she had like 40 years. She's got like 40 years in the soap opera business. Like, she is like the goat of like strong female, no shit characters on soaps. Like, she knows her stuff. Like, she comes in and she just pick it up. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've met Laura I think at least once, and she's lovely woman. So she's actually having a Zoom on my birthday that I think my friend and co-host of Lee's on Radio will be maybe treating me to. I think she said she was going to. So I'm excited. I'll get to talk to Laura right for my birthday.
Also, I mean, I should mention, it seems like I've become a permanent co-host on Blog Talk Radio or Take Two Radio. I think it's Take Two Radio soaps, Blog Talk Radio soaps. So I'm on that every other Monday. Wherever you find your favorite podcast, blogtalkradio.com, I believe it is. So I've been enjoying that. As a matter of fact, a couple of co-hosts are going to put together some reels from, I believe they said Y&R, for me to watch to kind of get me into Y&R. Because I don't watch Y&R or Bold and the Beautiful. I've never gotten into them. I mean, like I said, I just started watching Days this year.
Yeah. I've gotten into Y&R and Bold and the Beautiful specifically for like couples.
Yeah.
Because when you see it all over your social media feed, you're like, oh, what's up with that couple? Like, now I'm interested and I have to know. So I got into Y&R for like Kyle and Lola, which were very short-lived. I got so into them and I was watching all their scenes and I love them and I still want to do a music video for them at some point. And then there's the whole Thomas and Hope of it all right now on Bold and the Beautiful. That's like everyone talks about. Yeah, I really like them. And I also like Steffi and Finn, but it looks like they're gonna ruin them for some crazy storyline with his.
It's amazing how the names in every soap are almost the same, like just different kinds of characters. Like you've got a Sonny on General Hospital and a Sonny on Days. You've got Finn on General Hospital and now Finn on Bold and Beautiful.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, the same character names, different character traits, like different personalities. Yeah. Same character name. Yeah. But I don't know how we got from Maxie, Lucy to
crossover. The
different
crossover.
soaps, but we definitely crossed over in this segment to something else. But
yeah.
I mean, I love and appreciate all the soaps for what they are, and there's different elements of like the soaps that I kind of wish General Hospital would adapt. So like Steffi and Finn are like a very like, I appreciate them for having very adult conversations about the future and where they see their relationship headed, which I really wish they would do more of that on General Hospital. Like, I want, like, Chase and Brooklyn,
Yeah.
for example, to have those kind of conversations, to have those serious adult heart-to-heart conversations about where they see their future. But I mean, I guess they don't want to go there too fast. They want to be very slow. They're just about this, like, the slow burn that, like, never ends on General Hospital. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand, like, how that's enjoyable up to a point, but
Yes.
then people get too, like, frustrated. Like, you're gonna lose people's interest. So
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And you know, it's like it's the same thing, like watching Days and getting into it. Like Days is so much more progressive with with a lot of their couples and their um different characters in terms of, like, whether it's the first ever daytime threesome with Alex, Chanel, and Allie.
oh my gosh, that threesome.
um
Woo, that was something.
and then
they keep it hopping on Days.
yeah, and then it's like, and then with the different, how everything, like even with Leo and Dimitri now, and Gwen in the middle, so there's more to it. um what I think, like with General Hospital, they can take a page from Days to the point of being more progressive. Like they've got Terry on I don't think she's on contract, I think she's recurring, but when you have Christina, who's setting up the LGBTQIA what have you group that she's trying to start, and she gets Terry on the board of directors, why didn't we see that conversation? Like, being that Terry's actually, the actress Cassandra James that plays Terry is actually a trans woman, that could have brought so much more education to people. Why wasn't that shown, instead of just, oh, I have a meeting with Terry to ask her, and then 10 minutes later, yes, she said yes. Where the hell was the meeting?
Right. Like, I think there'd be some kind of conversation that we would like to see on screen. And, like, if you're going to try to appeal to the LGBTQIA demographic, if they're, watching General Hospital, well, you, like, completely, like, missed your chance because, like, you didn't have that conversation on screen. And you're not showing that. And that would give I'm sorry, I just lost the train, lost her name. What's her name?
Cassandra James?
Yeah, her character name.
Oh, Terry.
So that completely lost the opportunity for Terry to say, hey, this is why this cause means so much to me. This is why we need more awareness in the transgender community, like something. Like, you completely lost your opportunity to do that. GH dropping balls like normal. I just kind of expect that. Honestly, they just, at this point, it's like GH they just dropped the ball. Like, I don't know, maybe there's too much going on in the writer's room and they just think other things take priority, I guess. But
well, and again, like with Terry, like the relationship between Terry and Yuri, what are we gonna get a scene where Terry says to Yuri, like, I'm trans? Like, I would think that would be, I don't think I've ever.
You would think that would have already happened.
Exactly, like one of the first conversations that would have taken place.
Like, by the way, just so you know,
yeah.
I'm trans. Like, exactly. It was, be nice. But they start these little, like, relationships. When they started Terry and Yuri, I knew that we weren't going to see them that often because they're
both recurring.
They're both recurring characters. Yeah, right. We don't see them on screen that often at all. So it's going to be maybe like in every 3 months. Like, here's Terry and Yuri again.
Yeah.
Seen them again in 3 months. Like, that's kind of how it is.
And I think the whole thing, and I think Yuri kind of has the same. Yuri got over, and they weren't expecting him to get over. So, he got over as a character because of, he was just only supposed to be the bodyguard for Brooklyn while she was pregnant with or while she was pretending to be pregnant.
Pretending to be pregnant with
So it's, it's almost to the fact of, he was never supposed to be an actual character. It's similar to Trina. Trina was only supposed to be the sidekick, the best friend of Joss, until the whole Sprina movement came about and Trina got over. Thanks to Sydney Michaela and then Tabiana Lee, who's knocked it out of the park. But I think it's the same thing with Yuri, where everybody enjoyed the friendship that Yuri and Monica had. Mm-hmm. That, and just that dynamic that Yuri got over, and the writers didn't know where to go with him. So when they actually came up with the brilliant idea of having Yuri and Terry together, after Terry and Chet kind of fizzled out because of that whole situation, they just didn't know how to treat it and how to keep it going.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like an issue with them not knowing how to write like a transgender woman in a relationship. Like I don't know what their hiccup is with that. Like maybe they're just too afraid to
push that
subject. But I mean, come on, there's like people I'm sure you could ask from
Terry alone.
Organizations that could consult you on that matter if you're worried about how to write that,
I think a lot of it just has to do with the way society is nowadays, because you're guaranteed, if you're going to run a story like that, you're guaranteed to piss at least half of the people off, or piss off one demographic that you're looking at. And unfortunately, the soaps really can't lose.
Okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like rattle the
you can't
sensibilities of the conservatives? Like, I mean,
you can't. It's almost like that. It's
how
almost
conservative like are you though if you're watching a soap?
Well, okay, I can understand that.
Like, let's okay, I'm probably gonna get some heat for that, but honestly, like there's a lot of like if I was super conservative, I don't think I'd be watching General Hospital. Just saying,
But I think the problem boils down to, and one of the biggest things is, you have to toe the line, and unfortunately, you're going to get people upset at you one way or another if you run with certain storylines. Me personally, it's entertainment. I don't care one way or the other. I want to be enjoyed. I want the storylines to work, and I want them to be somewhat logical. Although you very rarely get any kind of logic in soap operas.
Oh, no. Suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
Complete logic. It's like each soap opera has their own logic. Like things that you think would like make sense. Like Coda and Sasha. Love that he broke her out of Ferncliff. But it really makes no sense because they would probably have had like locks on every single door leading out to the exit. Like, how did he get past that? Like we have to suspend disbelief. Like, oh, he just did it. He's like a mastermind or something. I don't know. Like,
right.
like he got her out. Like we just have to think that Ferncliff has some kind of fault in their security, I guess.
We didn't even talk about, and I know we're going on an hour and a half.
It's just like things will not
make yeah. No, you're exactly right. We do have to suspend disbelief a lot. I agree. And you know what we didn't even talk about? I know we've been going it for over an hour and a half at this point. We didn't even talk about Molly, TJ, the surrogate. I mean, that...
Well, that's because that's a boring snooze of a storyline. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's why.
I'm not invested one bit in that storyline. Partially is because the new Molly, and nothing against the actors, the actress themselves, it's not working for me. Like, Molly has become the whiniest baby and just so self-centered, to the point where she thinks that anytime Christina's around, she's going to make it about her and not listen to reason, and not like, there's nothing in that storyline that I'm invested in. I could care less if, Molly and TJ have a baby right now. I would have much rather them put the pause on when everything happened with Haley in real life, and put the pause on, put that out until you get and I know that this new Molly is permanent, until you get the new character there that we're able to get invested in.
They could have just had Molly go away for a while for some reason. I don't really know a whole lot of Molly fans. I mean, I've never found her to be like a super rootable character. Like, she's always seemed like this kind of whiny.
She was when she was younger. When she was younger and
sort of self-centered character. So I get to a certain extent jealous of her.
She was rootable when she was younger. When she was in that stage where she was just that hopeless romantic, getting Sam and Jason together, and trying to make sure that everybody was in love, and writing that book that Connie ended up stealing from her, which I actually have that book anyways. But yes, I bought the book. But I don't. As Haley went on to be recurring, and you barely saw any of her, and meanwhile TJ is skyrocketing as a doctor and getting really involved in the stories. There's a disconnect. There's just a disconnect between the fans and anything regarding Molly and TJ. They've been together since high school, and the only time that there was ever any kind of issue was when TJ was kidnapped, and Jordan made Molly think that he ran away and didn't want to be with her anymore, and she slept with Brando.
See, that was the last time I cared about what Molly did. It was when she slept with Brando. I was like, "Oh, she's doing something." I didn't expect her to do. I didn't expect her to go out of her little box and do something like that. Ooh. So it was interesting to me when that happened, and I kind of shipped Molly and Brando for the 5 minutes they were together,
right?
Because it was great. Because it was Molly with someone else.
Yeah.
The only time I have found Molly and TJ interesting is when they've been with other people.
Yes.
Because it's so I think it's just too much. It's too hard to expect them to be together for that long when we've never really seen them have meaningful relationships with other people outside of the two of them together. Because when you have what they call a super couple on Suits, and people love to throw this around, this super couple title, but that super couple didn't become a super couple by just being the boring couple for 20 years who stayed together. They had other relationships that happened with other people outside of that, so you knew that their one true love or their soulmate was that other person.
Right, exactly.
But Molly and TJ don't really have that. It's they made them the most boring couple to me, aside from Michael and Willow. They are the winner for the most boring couple on GH. I'm I don't care. You're not really doing anything to shake them up. Then when you do, it lasts for maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and then they get back together. It's just, there's nothing really that interesting there that makes me want to root for them to be together and grow old together.
Yeah. If Kristen Alderson would come back on a contract to GH, I would love to see Blair bring Star back, and Star get involved with Michael and Willow and have that break them up. That would make them interesting. Yeah.
Michael and Star were
I love that pairing.
That pairing was fire. That was good. That was a really good pairing. I wanted them to get married and have kids.
Yeah, I enjoyed that pairing. I thought it worked on many levels. But then when Star had to leave and Kiki came in, same actress, much different.
Didn't work.
It didn't work. It did not work. Kiki and Morgan worked. But again, I think when Haley Aaron took over, now Haley Aaron did great as Kiki, but her best relationship was with Dylan. So I mean, it all depends on who you have good chemistry with.
Down the chemistry.
All right.
I don't think TJ and Molly had that chemistry for me. I think that's probably my big problem with them is I just don't feel any kind of like spark with either the old Molly or the new Molly. Like either one. It wasn't working for me.
I think the old Molly, when it was the old TJ, Taquan Richmond, I think that was the last time that they had really a good chemistry.
Yeah, now we have TJ and Molly who are just supposed to be like, oh, like they're not married, they're in a domestic partnership,
exactly,
and they're gonna have this baby, and they're gonna have this surrogate get pregnant, and they're gonna have this baby, and like, well, why though? Like, why should we care? Like, why? Like, I don't find a reason to be invested in that.
Absolutely.
At all. Like, I'm finding it a hard time to be invested in that, and I know eventually it'll probably be Christina who'll be the surrogate, and everything will be hunky dory with that. But
it's very predictable at this point.
It's very predictable storyline. Like I think we ultimately all know what's going to happen in this storyline.
Yeah,
and there's nothing exciting about it.
No. All right. Well, we've been at this for over an hour and a half. I know it went a little skewed, and this last segment's going to end up being broken down a couple times and do a couple different segments. Because we went from Maxie and talking about deception to crossovers to now about Molly and TJ.
Wow. You know what we didn't cover, which I do want to touch on for like 2 minutes, is Trina and her bestie Jocelyn had a great conversation about Spencer and Esme.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And she's like, aren't you mad? Like, don't you feel a certain type of way about this? And she's like, yeah, I do. And she did look really pissed. And she looks pissed this week too. And I'm like, girl, you've been like where's all this pent up anger gonna go? Like, you're gonna blow at some point at Spencer. I'm just gonna wait for her to blow up like a volcano at him one day.
I saw some commentary on X about this topic, and because a lot of the Sprina fans are so upset about Spencer being so oblivious to Esme and what she's trying to do and trying to get back with him. And I saw two sides of the story, and I understand both sides. The one side being is that Spencer's so completely enamored and in love with Trina that he doesn't care what Esme does, so he's just kind of playing along, and who cares how she's trying to manipulate him. But on the other hand, the way it looks to Trina is that Esme's trying to take her man, and her man is allowing it to happen. So I see both sides. As a man myself, sometimes we could be kind of dumb in the understanding female manipulation and female persuasion and female thought processes. I can understand where Spencer is. You know what? I'm so totally in love with this girl that if another girl tries to flirt with me or tries to make a pass, I'm not going to disregard it, but I'm also going to be, nice about it. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? I get it. I understand where I can understand Spencer's thought process in that aspect.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling like that Trina's not exactly letting all her feelings out. I feel like she's having a lot of pent up feelings about this, and she's gonna blow. I mean, she's letting Spencer know.
Yeah.
She feels a certain type of way about it a little bit this week, but I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like something big is gonna come out because like she's just way too like you could tell she's mad about it on the inside, but she's just not really vocalizing that
right
much. So she just kind of seems like she's just putting up with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think I mean I believe it's this week they're actually going to have their first love scene, so hopefully everything is going to get fixed after that. Um
Mm, I
so
don't
we'll
know.
see.
We'll
We'll see.
see if Spencer can genuinely like prove to her that like he really has no interest
All
in
right.
Esme, even though I think she obviously has feelings for him.
Oh yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. I well, see, here's the thing, and I think they're showing the subtle signs of it is that the old Esme is coming back, to the point where she's trying to use Ace to manipulate Spencer, even though Spencer's kind of not giving into it. So it's a possibility that I mean, she's trying to get Spencer away from Trina. It's just in a much different way than it was before.
Right. Like she's willing to like let them have their alone time and
Yep.
leave the room and stuff. I don't know. I just sounds off
Yeah.
that, like she's some, yeah,
Yeah.
some. So
Exactly.
we'll see how that plays out. I don't know if this
We
big
will
wedding
talk about.
love scene is gonna happen or not this week, but if it does,
Yeah.
great, because it's long overdue.
Yep, and we will talk about that next week on the Suds news segment of the Suds and Squared Circle. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, get notified anytime a new episode of Suds in the Squared Circle or any of the podcasts on the Suds network, Suds Media Network, I should say. It gets uploaded to whether it be YouTube or a podcast network. Christy, where can people find you as always?
Well, I'm not at my liaison profile these days on X, you know, but I'm at Creative Fan 15 sometimes, mostly tweeting about Taylor Swift, sometimes tweeting about GH. I don't know, choosing different topics that are like safe for me to talk about on X. I don't know. X is a very intense platform. Sometimes people are very triggered on that platform. So, yeah, and then I'm on Instagram at Liaison Radio and at Roswell Virtual Party if you're into that old show about teenage hybrid aliens. That show that aired from 1999 to 2002. You should check it out if you haven't, because it's a good one. One of the classics. So,
All right, and you can find me on X at the episode of Suds. Find Suds in the Squared Circle at Suds SQ Circle Pod on X as well. On Facebook, facebook.com/Suds and Squared Circle. Actually, I think it's Suds and Squared Circle Podcast. I have to fix that. And then on YouTube, youtube.com/at Suds and the Squared Circle. And then Christy, you've got your YouTube page up and you're posting up on there, correct?
oh yeah. So my YouTube, it did an update. It did reach 2000 and now it's at 2004. I think it's because I made these little shorts of like previous videos of mine because I haven't really been able to find time to edit new content, but I will. There'll be a new liaison video, Jason Elizabeth video coming out soon. So I have to do one for a message board. So I'm at youtube.com /user/X Creative Christy X. That's how it sounds. So yeah, feel free to find me on there. And I will be editing to a Taylor Swift song, so go figure.
And as always, go to our website where you can find everything now. Website has been completely revamped as of a couple weeks ago, sudsandsquaredcircle.com, where there are host profiles and you can actually fill out an application, become a guest on the show. We're going to be having guests on here. I'm trying to put together a few different podcasts going forward. Matt from 10th Floor is going to join me. We're going to do another watch along episode at some point soon. I'm also trying to get a number of people, whether it be from podcasts or outside of podcasts, together for one major episode regarding mental health and social media, because we do see a lot of social media affecting mental health. So I'm trying to put that together. A friend of mine works in a call center for it's like a 211 type of call center, or no, it's not 211. It's like eight. I don't know. It's one of the call centers, major call centers for for I think it's for teenagers who are struggling with whatever. And a lot of it comes back to social media. So I'm trying to put something together with that pretty soon. And then yeah, like I said, go to our website and buy our merch. Suds_circle.threadless.com, and we will see you next week. I don't know what our recording schedule is going to be. Tuesday seems to be working pretty well right now until my schedule gets in the way. But we shall see. We'll keep you updated. Stay tuned to all of the social media, and we'll see you next week on Suds in the Square Circle. Good night, everybody.